Yes, people, welcome to Crime Daily. A group of folks have been jailed for almost 30 years after a man was tortured over a 7 hour period. The victim suffered multiple stab wounds, a dislocated shoulder, a burn to his stomach, and had his jaw broken in two places during the sickening incident. Remy Burgess, Dominic McGrath, and Lewis Winstanley each received an extended prison sentence following the ordeal. Bolton Crown Court heard that it started on December 27th, 2020, when the victim was trying to sell a Rolex to 25-year-old Burgess over social media. After agreeing on a price of £4,000, Burgess said he would collect it from a garage the victim worked at in Shaw. Winstanley, 20, was driving the Volkswagen T-Roc that pulled up outside the victim's place of work, while Burgess was sat in the passenger seat. Another man, McGrath, 29, was sat in the back. The victim got in the car to count the cash, and at this point McGrath headbutted him in the face before the car sped off. Burgess stabbed the man in the hand with a flip knife, and McGrath stabbed him in the leg. The men repeatedly punched him, and then McGrath bent his hand behind his back, which the victim believes was for around half an hour. McGrath was heard to ask, "Should I just snap his arm?" as they headed towards the M60. The defendants emptied his pockets and took his phone. As the car approached the junction for Didsbury, the man's head was pushed into a footwell so he couldn't see where they were going. Another man who has not yet been identified got into the car, and the assault continued until they pulled up outside a home in Norwood Drive, Timperley. The victim's eyes were taped shut and his hands were taped behind his back. A hood was then pulled over his head as they walked into the house. Once upstairs, the man's legs were taped together as he was punched repeatedly. His top was then cut open and a hot iron was pressed onto his stomach. During the ordeal, the victim's jaw was broken in two places by a punch, and one of the attackers had to reassure him that he was not going to die. One of the men rang the victim's brother and demanded £100,000, threatening to kill the victim if they did not get the money. Police were at the garage while a phone call was taking place and could hear the threats on the speakerphone. They also rang the victim's dad and said they needed the money within the hour if he wanted to see his son alive again. After around 6 hours in the house, they drove the man to Altrincham Road and told the victim's brother to meet them there after negotiating on a ransom of £20,000. Police arrested Winstanley and McGrath nearby. The car was later found by another police officer in Wythenshawe in the early hours of December 28th. The victim was in the back with significant facial injuries and he was taken to hospital. In a victim personal impact statement, the man said that he felt like he was going to die during the incident and he doesn't know whether he'll ever get over it. The court also heard that the man now feels paranoid anytime he gets into a car. While in custody on December 29th, McGrath was taken to hospital after injuring his hand. While he was being escorted out of hospital by police, he managed to escape and was eventually arrested again on January 7th, 2021. Burgess was arrested the same day after police found him hiding in someone's wardrobe. During his interview, McGrath told police that he was not in the house on Norwood Drive and told them he had spent the evening with his girlfriend as well as the mother of his child. Winstanley and Burgess gave no comment in their interviews. All three men pleaded guilty to false imprisonment and wounding with intent. For unrelated matters, Winstanley also admitted to 3 counts of theft, 2 counts of burglary, handling stolen goods and breach of a suspended sentence. Defending Burgess, Hunter Gray told the court that he has a misplaced loyalty to others and struggles to resist peer pressure. Mr. Gray added that Burgess became a dad shortly after the incident in February 2021, but did not meet the child until May due to being in custody. Lewis Winstanley was represented by Robert Wynne Jones. Mr. Jones told the court that Winstanley, only 19 years old at the time of the incident, and described him as immature. He said Winstanley fell into crime after being excluded from school when he was 15. McGrath's lawyer, Richard Varden, described the crime as clumsy and repeated that McGrath was not in the house for a large period of time, around 2 hours. He added that McGrath had difficult family circumstances growing up and said that his mum had serious mental health problems. Judge Tom Gilbert deemed that all 3 men were dangerous and said that he needed to pass a sentence that included an extended licence period. Winstanley received a custodial term of 12 years, McGrath was jailed for 9 years and Burgess was imprisoned for 8 years. All 3 men will have to spend at least 2/3 of the sentence in prison before being considered for parole. Upon the completion of their custodial sentence, they will all be subject to an extended licence period of 3 years. Winstanley, who appeared by video link, asked the judge, "Bro, did you just give me 15 years? Judge Gilbert explained the sentence again, and Winstanley replied, "Cheers, mate," before immediately storming out. Yeah, anyway, people, another mad one, yeah? Let me know what you think in the comments, yeah? Don't forget to like and share. Peace.